From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Amarachi Ubani.
Good evening and welcome. Tonight, Inspector General of Police Usman Alkali Baba orders deployment of watertight security around schools, hospitals and critical national infrastructure across the country. Nigerian troops rescue another Chibok girl with her 4-year-old child and 3 other girls in Mongono local government area of Borno State. Leadership crisis rocking the Nigerian Bar Association continues as the association's secretary Joyce Odua fires back, accusing the president, Olumide Akpata, of running a unilateral leadership style. And in Egypt, fire at a Cairo Coptic church kills more than 40 people, including 10 children. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, has ordered the deployment of watertight security around schools, hospitals and critical national infrastructure across the country. The directive from the police boss, which also includes regular patrols, stop and search, is to clamp down on pockets of crime in some states of the Federation. Also today, the police chief has therefore ordered the deployment of watertight security around schools, hospitals and critical infrastructure. In a statement by the force PRO Olumuyiwa Adejobi, a police boss equally ordered regular patrols, stop and search, raids and show of force by tactical commanders to curb prevalence of criminality in some parts of the country. The IGB gave the directive while reviewing the general security situation in the nation and tasked security and strategic police managers to prioritize the use of intelligence gathering in concert with traditional local intelligence to locate criminal hideouts and flush them out before they strike. While reiterating the force's commitment to ensure a safe environment, the IGP calls for the cooperation of members of the public as he wants his men to be civil, professional and humane in the course of Staying with security, another Chibok schoolgirl, Ms. Aisha Grema, has been rescued by troops of Operation Hadinkai in Mongono local government area of Borno State. The Chibok girl was rescued with her 4-year-old child and 3 other girls. The GOC Division Major General Shuaibu says 2 of the abductees were kidnapped in 2022, while the 3rd girl, a 12-year-old, has been in custody of Boko Haram terrorists since she was an infant. Just last July, troops of Operation Hadinkai rescued 2 Chibok girls named Kauna Luka with a child and Hanatu Musa with 2 children at Ulmari General Area of the state. Meanwhile, citizens and members of regional security outfits have limited trust in the nation's formal security architecture, which is why they are reluctant to offer them intelligence which could help tackle insecurity. That's the view of co-founder of the Odua People's Congress, OPC, Are Gani Adams. He told Channels Television's Nadi Akedele on our current affairs program Newsnight that there have been several instances where such intelligence, even compiled by the Department of State Services, were not acted upon.
Nigerian government did not realize security is not about government alone. It's about every citizen in that country. Every citizen have a role to play. Some that not part of the group like ours, they have access to intelligence information. But sometimes Nigeria have fear to disseminate information to security because some of the security have turned to courts. Some of them, they are agents of criminal. They want to make quick money. By the time giving them information, the criminal will come to your house and kill you. But in terms of OPC have the confidence when citizens give them an information. They will port that information to the security. They will send that information to the security. And when we realize that security is becoming reluctant, we go to the media. And that was one of the reasons that we have to issue statements, because we have passed many information to the security agents. They couldn't act. Sometimes they said it's beyond their power, because they find the intelligence to the villa did not act. Okay, look at what the Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly said, that they got an information that the DSS have written an intelligence to the villa for 40 times that they will attack Kuje prison. But they refuse to act. They refuse to act.
You can watch the full interview on Newsnight. It airs tomorrow, August 15, 2022 at 9 p.m. right here on Channels Television. Following the recent violent protests in Sierra Leone, a voice message is led to be circulating in the country calling for an attack on Nigerian soldiers. The Nigerian High Commissioner to Sierra Leone, Henry Omako, revealed this during a meeting with the country's Minister of Foreign and International Cooperation and some development partners in Freetown, the Sierra Leonean capital. During that meeting, Mr. Omako called for the sensitization of Sierra Leoneans, citing Nigeria's efforts towards the country's development.
The situation in Sierra Leone is affecting my own country, my own citizen directly, in the sense that there are a series of ugly voice messages going around in Sierra Leone, calling for the attacks on Nigerian citizens, condemning or castigating Nigerian soldiers by dragging us in, that Nigerian soldiers are part of this ugly incidents going on in Sierra Leone. So the case of Sierra Leone and Nigeria, please, I want this government to put more effort in sensitizing your people. It's like they don't really know the role Nigeria is playing for the stabilization of this country.
So I want to reassure you, I have seen and heard those clips, and we have taken a position that we want to engage you at a bilateral level to reassure you. But that is not the position of government and the majority of the 1.75 million. Your Excellency, this is politics. In the run-up to election, those who want to secure political power at all costs will destroy friendship. The objective is to terrorize, misinform, manipulate, create a wedge, divide and rule. They know that we have a special relationship with Nigeria. They know that Nigeria has supported us. They know all of these, what Nigeria has been doing. So what better way is to divide and rule, put a wedge, to distance Nigeria from Sierra Leone, to ensure that the investments are withdrawn. This is what terrorists do.
To issues back home now, barely 24 hours after the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Olumide Akpata, issued a disclaimer against the General Secretary, Mrs. Joyce Odua's notice of withdrawal of proposed constitutional amendments at the NBA's 2022 annual general meeting. The association's secretary has reacted. In a statement made available to media entitled "Setting the Record Straight," the General Secretary gives reasons for her actions and the withdrawal of the notices, while restating that her loyalty goes to the generality of the members of the NBA in carrying out her responsibilities as the General Secretary of the Association. Mrs. Odua accused President Olumide Akpata of demonstrating a well-established unilateral control and command leadership style, as well as attempts to usurp the constitutional duties of her office. She also accused the NBA president of canvassing for disregard of the NBA Constitution's provision relating to the notice of constitutional amendment. The leadership crisis in the NBA is coming ahead of the association's annual general meeting, scheduled to hold at the annual general conference later this month. The conference will be the last under Olumide Akpata's administration. In other news, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, is asking the Independent National Electoral Commission to give about 7 million Nigerians the opportunity to complete their voter registration or face legal action. According to SERAP, INEC recently disclosed that out of 10,487,972 Nigerians who carried out their pre-registration online, only 3,444,378 have completed the process at a physical center. In a letter by the rights group, it believes the right to vote is also the right to be given the time and opportunity to complete the registration process so that it can be effectively exercised. SERAP has threatened to institute legal action against the electoral umpire if it fails to consider the appeal in the interest of the public, whose voices may be denied in the 2023 general elections. In politics, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has appointed the governor of Adamawa State, Umaru Fintiri, as the chairman, reconciliatory committee representing Atiku camp to find a lasting solution between Governor Nyesom Wike, Atiku Abubakar, and other aggrieved members of the party. Governor Fintiri made this disclosure immediately after arriving at the Yola International Airport from an official function in Abuja.
Our party is united, we are focused, and the reconciliation is open and is in progress. And it will surprise you that I'm even the chairman of the reconciliation committee between Atiku and Wike on Atiku's side. And I assure you that once we start, we'll get over it. And I assure you that Nigerians will not even forgive us if we fail to produce the next president of this country. Everything is shattered, everything is in confusion. Nigerians doesn't seem to understand where they are. We wake up every morning at the mercy of God. And so as leaders, we will ensure we will put everything into this reconciliation to ensure that Atiku and Wike's camp are back as one and united party members for the success of PDP.
Meanwhile, the Allied People's Movement, one of the few political parties fielding a female presidential aspirant for the 2023 general elections, has repositioned itself to leverage on the votes of women and young people in hopes of winning the 2023 presidential elections. The party held a national convention today in Abuja, where its constitution was adjusted to resolve some challenges facing the party, while the caretaker committee, Alhaji Yusuf Dankale, was elected as the party's national chairman by delegates from across the country.
What you should be expecting from me in the next 4 years is a party that Nigerians will own, that Nigerians will be proud of, that will turn around things that will kill the current form of leadership or politics of recycling old bottles, old wine in new bottles. We want to take Nigeria and take it back to Nigerians so that you'll be proud of Nigeria, both internally and externally. Our chances are 100%. Because we are number one, this is the only party that is fielding female candidates. So, and by the grace of God, the women and the youth are the voting population in Nigeria today. Will explore that opportunity and make it a surprise to Nigerians and Africa. Thank you so much.
In part two, after the break, over 50 persons killed in floods across Jigawa State in the last 1 month. Do stay with us.
You're always running around, keeping up. You're
Welcome back. If you just joined us to watch the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Inspector General of Police Usman Alkali Baba orders deployment of watertight security around schools, hospitals, and critical national infrastructure across the country. Nigerian troops rescue another Chibok schoolgirl with her 4-year-old child and 3 other girls in Mongono local government area of Borno State. Leadership crisis rocking the Nigerian Bar Association continues as the association secretary Joyce Odua fires back, accusing the president, Olumide Akpata, of running a unilateral leadership style. And in Egypt, fire at a Cairo Coptic church kills more than 40 people, including 10 children. The resident electoral commissioner for the Independent National Electoral Commission in Akwa Ibom State, Barrister Mike Igini, has urged staff of the commission to continue to uphold the hard-earned integrity which the commission in the state has come to be known for. Mr. Igini gave the charge in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State during a ceremony organized to bid him farewell as he officially retires from active service.
Mike Igini, a lawyer, assumed duties as the resident electoral commissioner in Akwa Ibom State about 5 years ago with a clear message to all stakeholders that under his watch, the people's votes will count.
Even though the process of electoral
5 years after, he looks back confidently about his time at the commission and its scorecard.
In retrospect, as I live, looking at where Akwa Ibom was when I came, I can proudly say that we met a situation, we met a system, and today we are living it better than we met it. But may I say this, that it is our humble suggestion that 6 months to a general election, a commissioner of police, heads of security should not be transferred from their command. Should not be transferred from their command. It will be recalled that in Akwa Ibom State here, because they wanted to steal the election, on a particular day we had 3 commissioners of police who sat on your seat, Mr. CP. 3 commissioners of police. One day there was even confusion as to who would be the commissioner. On that day, it is our advice that that should not be allowed to happen.
Politicians and other personalities who attended the event applauded the outgoing resident electoral commissioner for a job well done.
I have contested election where someone who sits on your seat would deliver election material, sensitive material to the governor of the state. And we were wasting our time thinking that we were voting. By convention, it took them 4 days to change the result, to be writing the real result. Then you have come to change the narrative.
We made great strides, and those strides would stand up for you. On behalf of the entire 31 local governments in Akwa Ibom, where we have traditional rulers, I stand and to greet you very immensely for your role you have played in Akwa Ibom, and we hope you will continue in your next page. We wish we could have an opportunity to give you a hand, give you a vote, stand for you. If you can aspire a little bit more, we know that we've got someone that we can depend on.
Mr. Igini received 2 awards by the Inter-Party Advisory Committee and the human rights community in the state for his work at the Electoral Commission.
To the impact of environmental disaster, 50 persons have been confirmed dead in the last 1 month, with many displaced as floods wreak havoc in Jigawa State, northwest Nigeria. The Executive Secretary of the State Emergency Management Agency, Sani Yusuf, confirmed this to newsmen in Hadija. According to him, thousands of homes have been destroyed, forcing people to take refuge in government buildings and other places. Our correspondent, Sadiq Ilyasu, has more.
Torrential rainfall has been the order of the day in recent weeks in Jigawa State, northwest Nigeria. This has caused the death of 50 people across the state, including children. Many houses have also been destroyed, forcing the people to take refuge in government buildings.
Balangu village in Kafin Hausa local government area of Jigawa State is one of the communities in the state that has been affected by the flood, and many people, including women and children, have been displaced. Balangu Special Primary School, Yemmo Primary School, and the Women's Center are now serving as internally displaced camps for the victims.
11 temporary IDP camps have been established for the victims across the state.
We have so many displaced persons, over about, I think, 11 temporary camps. And also in Balangu, I think 238 people also lost their houses.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, along with the Director General, National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, stormed the state with relief materials that are expected to provide succor to the victims.
Upon receiving this unfortunate news, President Muhammad Buhari directed the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development to activate the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to respond in providing necessary support to the affected persons.
4 states in Nigeria have local emergency management committee, and I'm proud to beat my chest, and I'm proud to say Jigawa State Governor established local emergency management committee in Jigawa State.
The Jigawa State Governor commends the federal government for the quick response.
You see the response. This flooding happens, the latest ones happens 4 or 5 days ago, and already relief materials are on ground supporting people. And we have seen the kind of support we receive during the COVID, during all afflictions that afflicted our people. You are always apt and on time to support our people.
Although the devastation occasioned by the flood has caused so much trauma to the victims are hopeful that this intervention will cushion the effect of the flood. Sadiq Ilyasu, Channels Television News.
Residents in Nigeria are beginning to raise concerns over the different prices of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, across filling stations in the country. A price adjustment, which came on the heels of recent petrol queues in Nigerian cities, has remained largely unauthorized. In this next report, our energy correspondent Olu Phillips takes a look at the issues around the pricing of petrol in the country.
In June of this year, the Southwest Zone of Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, made an indication that pump price of premium motor spirit will change at the fuel stations owing to circumstances that have prevailed on their operations. Fast forward to present times, that impacting circumstance plus the geopolitical tension between Russia and Ukraine has persisted. Following those pronouncements by IPMAN, the market reacted. Queues returned to the streets of Lagos and other parts of the country, plus the Federal Capital Territory, which had had a protracted tail.
So unfortunate is what's happening in Abuja, and nobody is like government as if nobody's just there to correct your thing. Has it become normal? Has it become law that this has to be in Abuja?
Supplies started taking a hit as truckers started withdrawing services for reasons put on the high cost of diesel. The fuel stations also feared the rising cost of operations and diesel, which have moved from 16,000 naira daily cost to about 80,000 naira at 800 per litre, multiplied by 100 litres required to run an average station daily, which also raises the question of electricity supply levels. Soon, the outcome at the fuel stations became excruciating. The federal government had to find a solution, prompting the president to approve an extra 10 naira for transportation. Reprieve came, but was short-lived. The queues returned barely days after it disappeared. When it all comes together, what do we have? Well, from the east to the north to south and down west, petrol now sells in Nigeria at various price difference. From the takeoff point of 165 naira to the litre, most stations owned by major marketers in Lagos have a 4 naira markup. Independents have a range between 7 naira and 14 naira max. Other parts of the country is even higher.
Over 3 months, I have not bought fuel less than 250 per litre.
People say fuel as it favors them now. Nobody's ready to go and buy products and then come and sell below his cost price. Nobody will do that. We are businessmen, okay? And especially as we speak today, you know the cost of diesel. We barely have lights in the stations. We run power from morning till evening.
This situation is typical of a deregulated market, but the federal government says it hasn't done so yet.
Well, I can tell you authoritatively, we have not deregulated. The government is subsidizing. If there are increases in price, it is not from the government.
The oil traders want deregulation, but a phased one. Essentially, a business environment where products, commodities are paid for at the right price.
We stand for a phased deregulation of this problem.
Then is the seesaw game of subsidy. To be or not to be. Presently, Nigeria is paying a huge price to keep residents from paying the true cost of the product. Seemed like we had the luxury to do that in the past, but not anymore. Naira is fighting the battle of its life. Forex is nobody's friend at the moment. Economic realities and inflation numbers are putting up a stiff fight. Yet, the Nigerian Labour Congress haven't indicated they will welcome subsidy removal. President Muhammadu Buhari has, in his wisdom, suspended the functions of the petroleum industry law as it concerns petrol subsidy for 18 months. The World Bank and IMF are surprised Nigeria still retains such policy. The downstream regulator and the players are still looking up the workings of the new law. And of course, the Russia-Ukraine crisis, which is threatening energy security and pricing globally. Interestingly, all of these are occurring almost simultaneously with consequences that are real and present. In the meantime, the price adjustments seem to have answered the questions around queues and availability, but under a regulated regime. Will the federal government make a move to provide clarity, or will the quiet market-induced price adjustment continue quietly? Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
No fewer than 442 parcels of crystal methamphetamine concealed in the dried fish heads packed into cartons have been intercepted by the operatives of the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. The consignment was to be exported to Dubai in the UAE from Lagos. The 11.90 kilogram consignment was brought to the Sako export shed of the airport from Kogi State by a freight agent who was arrested upon discovery that the cartons were presented for exports contained parcels of the dangerous drug wrapped in foil paper and concealed in the heads of hundreds of smoked catfish. Meanwhile, anti-narcotic officers at the Akanu Ibiam International Airport in Enugu have also arrested a 50-year-old man for ingesting 77 pellets of cocaine. In the same vein, operatives of the NDLEA made arrests and seizures in Anambra, Kaduna, Kano, and Abia states. In the meantime, the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, has said Nigeria's startup bill, when passed into law, will help transform the information and communications technology sector by providing enabling environment for the establishment of development and operations of startups in Nigeria. He said this at the presentation of awards to participants of the World Summit on the Information Society Forum, including the winner of the 2022 World Hackathon event. The Nigeria Startup Bill is a joint initiative by Nigeria's tech startup ecosystem and the presidency to harness the potential of Nigeria's digital economy through co-created regulations.
We are all aware that the federal government, through the ministry and the office of the Chief of Staff to Mr. President, both of them have jointly worked on Nigeria's startup bill. The bill has already been passed by the National Assembly, both Senate and the House of Representatives. We do hope that in the next few days, Mr. President will look into it and it will become a law. When that bill becomes a law, it could be among the major achievements of ICT sector in Nigeria. Not only this administration, throughout the history of the digital economy sector and ICT in Nigeria. In that bill, there is a provision of so many benefits to our young innovators and our startups: pioneer status, tax holiday, incentives, grant, loan, And also, the law, when approved, will establish a presidential council where Mr. President will chair the council, and he will be supported by Vice President, and the minister in charge of digital economy will be the vice chair, where the government, private sector, and young innovators will come together, look into their challenges there, and then Mr. President will direct what to do for the success to continue to be very successful.
Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello has read the Riot Act to companies and business owners in the state, urging them to respect constitutional authority to enable them achieve success in their businesses. The governor gave the charge during an interactive session with captains of industry, business owners and proprietors of private schools in Lokoja, the state capital. He assures the business proprietors that his administration will create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive, warning that his government will no longer condone acts of lawlessness.
Entrepreneurs, bankers, political office holders, as well as critical stakeholders converge on the glass house of the Government House Lokoja for an interactive meeting at the instance of the Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello. The focus of this meeting is security, and Governor Bello promises that his administration will continue to secure the lives and properties of the residents of his state. The Commissioner for Finance and Economic Planning urges the business owners to collaborate with the state government to tackle the challenge of insecurity, just as the Chief of Staff to the Governor maintains that a lot has been achieved by the Governor in ensuring that the state is safe for the people.
For any system to be effective, then the private sector must be fortified. The private sector must be strengthened to be able to carry out their businesses.
To do business in Kogi State, your welfare is very key. The safety of your personnel is very key. The safety of your plant is very key. As such, this calls for collaborative effort.
Some of the business owners share their thoughts on how to secure the state.
Within the government sector too, people use covered number, which are security threats. People use tinted glasses. It's only in Kogi State and in Lokoja that witness the highest number of tinted glasses if you are driving across the road.
First of all, I want, as an operator, to be given the opportunity, either by your state ministry of mine, that only 2,000 operators should have our ID card. Miners Association ID card.
Governor Bello encourages business organizations to be proactive in fulfilling their corporate social responsibilities to the people.
It is not the business of government alone to provide that security. Am I right? It means it's a collective responsibilities of both government and the governed, both individuals and corporate bodies.
At the end of the meeting, members of the private sector in attendance are hopeful that the state government will indeed make good its promise of creating a safe environment for residents and businesses to thrive in the state.
Over 150 smallholder farmers in Katsina State have benefited from assorted agriculture inputs from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. The distribution is part of efforts by the ministry to reduce the impact of insecurity and COVID-19 pandemic on smallholder farmers in the state. The measure is also to avert the looming food crisis aggravated by the Russian-Ukraine war.
Smallholder farmers in Katsina State have converged on the Federal Secretariat complex in the state capital for the distribution of free agriculture inputs by the federal government in partnership with the state government. The gesture, which is in recognition of the role played by rural farmers in the nation's economy and the challenges they face, is aimed at enhancing their income and creating more jobs, as explained by officials from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture.
35% of the inputs are targeted at women farmers in line with the targets set in our national gender plan and policies aimed at ensuring increased opportunities for women. while 15% are targeted at farmers with special needs.
The program is aimed at touching the life of smallholder rural farmers who are the backbone of agriculture in Nigeria. The aim is to increase their income, reduce the level of poverty, increase food security, and accelerate economic growth of farmers, in particular, and the country in general.
The growing security challenges remain a major source of concern for Katsina State indigents, particularly the farmers, who continue to count their losses in the face of attacks by criminal elements. This has affected the growth of the agriculture sector in the state, and the Chairman House Committee on Agric Production and Services, Montari Dandutse, challenges security agencies in the country to do more to tackle the situation.
We are challenging the security outfit of this country for not doing enough to change this existing situation for the landmark of the future, because no country will survive in this irresponsibility and unfortunate situation. If they fail to do their duties, they are supposed to resign and give way to those that are saddled with that responsibility. But this responsibility cannot be put on party affiliation, because all the needed funds and availability of resources was given to the security output.
As the farmers look forward to improved security in Katsina State, they are urged to make judicious use of the inputs to produce food for the nation.
And now to the arts. Legacy is an exhibition by members of the Universal Studio of Art in Lagos. A work displayed at My Dream Gallery show the creations of artists within this training institution, which has groomed many creatives. We'll see it on Art Review tonight.
The idea to host an exhibition by members of the Universal Studio of Arts has been in the pipeline for a while now, but it was stalled no thanks to the pandemic. So everyone here is excited that Legacy, which reveals the works done by these artists, has finally been unveiled at the My Dream Gallery.
It's a show that we had planned for some time to put together, but the COVID has really been obstructive. Eventually, we were able to put this together, calling it a salon show that is sales exhibition, and in collaboration with the My Dream Gallery.
Although the studio is open to different artists, both trainees and professionals, there was no segregation in planning for this exhibition. Everyone that made the cut has been properly screened before they were allowed to be part of this event, which is to showcase the best.
The artist's work is an extension of his personality. So that is important to us also, that we mold people who are going to be very laudable and able representatives and ambassadors of the artists.
The audience give their impression about this collection, but want more attention given to placement and arrangement of the pieces.
The studio prides itself with membership who are there right at the top of the enkeron of the art system in Nigeria. So we have top-notch artists, and the works, they speak for themselves.
I've moved around. You cannot, from the sculptural pieces, from the paintings, from the mixed media work, you can't dismiss this collection, this exhibition. But I would say, the organizers should watch out. So some of the time that you don't pack too many works too close to each other, so that you give us a sense of space. One can stand back and appreciate, a particular work.
The Universal Studios of Art, which is located just beside the National Gallery of Art building within the National Theatre in Igomu, Lagos, has been grooming budding creatives for many years now. This has significantly contributed to the development of arts in the country.
Well, as Nigerians in the world at large continue to show interest in its music and the artists, the Afrobeat sound keeps emerging bigger and brighter on the global stage through its various styles: Afrofusion, Afropop, Afro House, Afro Soul, and so on. A couple of Nigerian musicians boldly take the world stage with the authentic Afrobeat sound. The consistent delivery of the sound and its variants which have attracted international collaborators and recognitions. Here's more in this report.
I owe you better life.
The Nigerian music scene continues to take center stage as the international music space takes notice. The industry reached a new high as Nigerian artists have several successful international collaborations, broke streaming records, earned multiple award nominations and wins. Afrofusion artist Burna Boy winning the first ever Grammy by a Nigerian for the Global Music Album category in 2001 seems to be the highest of highs after his Grammy-winning collaboration with Beyoncé in Brown Skin Girl. Wizkid had several collaborations with international acts like Chris Brown and Justin Bieber. Chris Brown has also gone ahead to feature the likes of Davido and Lil J. These collaborations go beyond the studio, as just recently, his performance at the Wembley Stadium was a delight to close to 1 million fans present, as multiple award-winning singer-songwriter Ed Sheeran called him on stage to share the spotlight.
I wanna hold you so tight, coming closer. I wanna be on your light until the night is over.
Shortly after his groundbreaking performance at the BET Awards, Fireboy performed a remix of his song Peru on Friday, featuring Ed Sheeran live at the Wembley Stadium. Following closely in the United Kingdom, Nigeria Afrobeat singer Lil J took center stage at the Wireless Festival 2022 with Chris Brown, and the two thrilled fans with their hit collaboration for Mona Lisa remix. The ladies aren't left out of the limelight as the Nigerian singer Temilade Okpeniyi, popularly known as Tems, won the Best International Act at the 2002 BET Awards and the Best Collaboration Award for the song Essence, featuring Wizkid and Justin Bieber.
You to get up from your seat and go for your dream and fight for yourself, because you can do it.
Between the last week of June 2022 and now, there's been several upgrades for the Afrobeat scene. The Nigerian music scene and the individual artists celebrated, as Afrobeat takes up space proudly across the global stage, airwaves, television and fans. It is certain that these new generation of hitmakers will not just fly, they will occupy the sky with pride.
I bring you home now to Zamfara State, where the government has officially flagged off the Scale 3.0 COVID-19 vaccination in the state. The state governor, Bello Matawalle, who flagged off the exercise in Gusau, the capital, and joined local government sole administrators, traditional rulers and other stakeholders to ensure residents within their areas receive the vaccine.
This is the official flag-off of the Scale 3.0 COVID-19 vaccination in Zamfara State. Governor Bello Matawalle performs the exercise with a call on traditional rulers, local government sole administrators, religious leaders and other relevant stakeholders to mobilize residents of the state in their jurisdiction to receive the vaccine in order to improve the 44% achieved in the Scale 2.0 COVID-19 vaccination strategies in the state.
I would like to remind the members of the general public that taking the COVID-19 vaccine is both an act of self-protection and a civic duty. Every one of us has a critical role to play in stopping the spread of the viruses. Therefore, I urge you to take the vaccines and ensure that every eligible person around you is vaccinated accordingly.
The Commissioner for Health believes the state cannot lower its guard in administering the COVID-19 vaccination as the pandemic is still in place.
just as the Executive Secretary of the State Primary Healthcare Development Board explains that the Scale 3.0 COVID-19 vaccination is anchored on 3 months intensive campaign.
It is hoped that Scale 3.0 strategy will address the identified implementation gaps in Scale 2.0 and bring about more accountability for performance, strengthen electronic data reporting, and promote robust demand generation at the community levels.
We are able to vaccinate fully about 675,222, which constitutes 26% of the eligible. These are fully vaccinated. Fully vaccinated means out of the 4 antigens, the Moderna, AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson.
With COVID-19 still in existence, the Zamfara state government is optimistic of improving on its last performance of 14%.
On our shores now, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has offered his condolences to the families of victims of a fire that engulfed a church in Giza near Cairo today, killing as many as 41 people. The cause of the fire is still being investigated by the government, though sources say it could be traced to an electric fault at the Coptic Abu Sifin Church during Mass. This is what is left of the St. Mark Abu Sifin Church outside of Cairo metropolis. The entrance is burnt, as are a few cars outside the church. Crowds have gathered, some distraught at the victims, but many more in shock at what has happened. While dozens were killed in the fire, most of them children, dozens more were injured. One survivor, speaking from his hospital bed, says, "We saved whom we could save." No one knows what triggered the electric fault that resulted in the fire, but it happened during Mass as 5,000 people gathered at the church in the Ibamba neighborhood. The fire blocked an entrance to the church, causing a stampede. One eyewitness says people were gathering on the 3rd and 4th floor, and when they saw smoke coming from the 2nd floor, they rushed to go downstairs and started falling on top of each other. Electric fires of this kind are not a rare occurrence in Egypt. Back in the late 2020, a fire at a hospital treating COVID-19 patients killed at least 7 people and injured several others. Kenyans are still awaiting final results from Tuesday's presidential poll in a race between former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and Deputy President William Ruto. With 50% of results now confirmed, William Ruto is seen taking a slight lead over Raila Odinga. Official verified results reported by the Nation media group showed left-leaning Odinga taking 48% of the vote, while Ruto edged ahead with 51%. Confusion over vote tallying of the media and the slow pace of progress by the Electoral Commission have raised anxiety in many Kenyans. Mr. Odinga is making his 5th bid for Kenya's presidency, but this time with the support of his former foe and current president, Uhuru Kenyatta. He's outlined a plan for improving socio-economic welfare. He says it would fight poverty. He's seen touting his long experience in national leadership, including a stint as Prime Minister. Ruto, on his part, has promised to publish government contracts with China and report undocumented Chinese nationals if elected on August 9. The promise is likely to resonate with citizens pummeled by mountain debt and the skyrocketing cost of living. Officials say 8 people have been wounded after a Palestinian gunman opened fire at 2 locations in Jerusalem. The assailant targeted a bus carrying Jewish worshippers who had just prayed at the Western Wall, as well as people in a car park near the holy site. 2 of the wounded are in serious condition, including a pregnant woman. U.S. citizens were also among the victims. The gunman, identified as resident of occupied East Jerusalem, fled the scene but later turned himself in. Israeli police say he had a criminal record but no known affiliations with Palestinian militant groups. They believe that he acted alone, but they're concerned he might inspire copycat attacks. Son of acclaimed author Salman Rushdie, Zamfara says his father sustained life-changing injuries but is stable to speak to his family. The 75-year-old is said to still be in critical condition but is usually feisty and defiant with a sense of humor which remains intact. Rushdie was left severely injured after being stabbed on stage at an event in New York. He has faced years of death threats for his novel, The Satanic Verses, which some Muslims see as blasphemous. The man charged over Friday's attack, Hadi Matar, has pleaded not guilty to attempted murder. His booking photo has also been released. In sports news, Harry Kane today snatched a 96-minute equaliser to salvage a 2-2 draw for Tottenham from a feisty London derby against Chelsea earlier today. Both managers Antonio Conte and Thomas Tuchel were sent off after a full-time whistle for their second physical altercation of the match. Chelsea looked set to greet or to get a new era at Stamford Bridge, off to the best possible start as they twice led through Kalidou Koulibaly and Reece James. Earlier, Nottingham Forest celebrated their first home game in the Premier League for 23 years by beating West Ham 1-0. Super Eagles' Taiwo Awoniyi scored the only goal for the newly promoted side. Back home, the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Schreiber, called on the league management in the country to source for more sponsors and improve funding for the Nigerian National League, which he considers important as for the government, for the development of the country's football. Mr. Schreiber formally retired from active football over the weekend after leading out Bendel Insurance for the last time in a 1-0 victory over Vendresa FC of Lagos at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City, the Edo State capital. The former Water Corporation FC of Akure, Nigeria Correctional Service FC player, lasted 30 minutes before being substituted.
The engine room of Nigerian football is NNL, not NPFL, because the product of NNL are the ones that go to NPFL and that represent the country. So the technical aspect of these players, the knowledge in football is at this level. So this is the engine room of Nigerian football. And I also want to use the occasion to beg NNFF, beg them, don't involve yourself in sponsorship that will benefit our home league and take it for national assignment. We've been having problem, NNL have been having problem in sponsorship. And the only way NNL can be strong and truly be the engine room of Nigerian football, both the Ministry of Sport, both NFF must put their eyes and money to make sure that NNL is stronger and better.
With less than 100 days to the 2022 FIFA World Cup, organizers are predicting record sales for exclusive FIFA packages to the rich and famous. A chairman of Match Hospitality, Jamie Byram, who sold millions of hotel rooms over 10 World Cups, says wealthy supporters will be flocking to the tiny Gulf state from around the globe on private planes and yachts. Organizers have contracted 450,000 of the 3 million tickets for the tournament, which begins on November 20.
We have products that start at $700 US, the so-called Match Experience product, which is reasonably affordable, particularly for a product that includes Category 1 tickets together with on-site hospitality, right up to the Pearl, the Super Pearl Lounge, which is sold as a strip, so it's confusing to give a number there, but it's obviously many times more expensive than. There will be people who will spare no expense to be here, and they will bring their yachts, they will fly on their private aircraft, and they will certainly make good use of their wealth. But again, that's only a minority of people, and it doesn't put them at the front or the back of any queues.
Falconets coach Chris Danjuma says his players are pumped for their second Group C match against South Korea at the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup in Costa Rica. Nigeria made a flying start to the competition with a win over France in San Jose on Friday, and a win tonight over the Koreans will secure qualification for the quarterfinals with a game to spare. Meanwhile, Bendel Insurance coach Monday Odige has assured supporters of a better outing in the Nigeria Professional Football League in the new season. He, however, wants the club management to boost the squad with quality players to achieve the decided success.
Goal number 1 for Bendel Insurance. Benjamin Tabido. And he gets a sum of 20,000 naira from the AUJ chairman of Edo State as the first player to score this evening for insurance. Come with Festus Aleke.
Very top league. And for real, insurance will need the services of players, a few players who are better than the ones we have now, so as to keep the competition going on. Not just better. You have to be seen as playing. We all have information about clubs in the NPFL. So, a few players that will come to join Bendel Insurance will be those that are better than the ones we have to create the healthy rivalry that can make the team challenge at any competition that they are going to play. And you also know time is a big constraint. The NPFL would like to start anytime, so we have to be careful about what we do. So players are welcome to come to Bendel Insurance.
And the main news again. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Akali Baba, has ordered the deployment of watertight security around schools, hospitals and critical national infrastructure across the country. The directive from the police boss, which also includes regular patrols, stop and search, is to clamp down on pockets of crime in some states in the Federation. Also today in Egypt, fire at a Cairo Coptic church has killed more than 40 persons, including 10 children. Many of the victims are believed to have died during a desperate scramble to escape.